Hey, hey, hey. What's going on? What's going on? I'm on again. I know you guys are wondering, where is she? Where did she go? Well, I I had to do my hair. I mean, come on. I can't just get on here looking crazy. So I had to do my hair, get my hair done. Uh Anywho, so I said I want to be consistent on doing my videos in regards to my upbringing in a false religion, an occult, whatever you want to call it, a cult. I don't know why I can't pronounce it, a cult. And just basically want to go over some more stories, tell you about some things that happened, even some stuff. I guess things that still happen even while at home in grammar school. Let me put it like that. So there's one topic I think I wanted to talk about. Like sometimes people don't understand that when you're involved in a false religion, anything that's not of God, anything that's against Christ, that's anti-Christ, that you open a door to the spirit world, the evil spirit world, I should say, because we have the spirit of the Holy Spirit, and then we have the spirit of the devil, or the spirit of evil. And so we don't realize that when we are brought up in certain denominations or certain religions that, again, as I say, that's antichrist, then it causes a lot of doors to be open. And so when we were growing up, the where we stayed, there was always something. We used to always hear noises and think we saw monsters and stuff like that growing up, in the middle of the night while we were asleep. And I believe that, right now, today, I believe that now that I think about it, that those were just were demon spirits that were in the house, that was in the place that we lived, because the door was open, that we were under witchcraft. We were brainwashed, and we were under a religion that brought on witchcraft. And so, in witchcraft, some people think witchcraft, oh, that means that you're playing with witches, or the occult is the horns and this, that, and the other. But basically, when I say witchcraft, witchcraft is just another word of mind control. So you're under a religion that tries to control you. And so when you have that, it's basically like, you have a piece of hair sticking up back there. Let me see, I can get that down. Okay. All right, don't y'all worry about that. Anyway, so you have this mind control, because if something is constantly in you and is telling you, this is how it's supposed to be done, this is how it's supposed to be done, and you're getting it constantly, 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 then what happens is you believe it, and then your mind just turns a blind eye to truth. You turn a blind, even if it don't make sense, even if you don't understand, you're like, well, this is what they told me, and I gotta follow exactly what they say, because this is the true religion. They call themselves the truth. So if you got me thinking that you're the true religion, and I'm following you, then and I'm following you line, hook, sinker. That means I don't question nothing that you do, even if it don't sound right, even if it don't make sense. If I'm telling you, don't associate with none of your family members if they're not a witness. Don't associate with nobody who's outside of the organization. Don't associate with just with anybody. Only people that you could talk to is those who you feel that you can bring into the fold. Okay, them the only people that you could talk to. You can't have friends who are outside of the religion. Our friends, best friends, and things of that nature had to be somebody that was in the organization. So that's another form of mind control. I think last time I talked about the different meetings that we had, where we were ingrained in everything that we were taught. It was like a repetitive teaching of the same thing over and over and over again, until you know that this is it. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, when I was in it, it was like, oh, this is not happening. I'm in the right place, and I believe in this. And remind you, I'm a teenager. I believe in this, and this is the right thing, because my mama in it, and so this has got to be the right thing. And so, so you grow up thinking that that's it, and there's nothing else that's better. You start turning your nose up at churches. You start turning your nose up at people who celebrate all of these holidays, who even celebrate their own birthday, even though you might question it. I mean, I'm not really sure if I ever questioned why I didn't celebrate my birthday, why I didn't celebrate holidays. I just thought that it was us against the world, because we was doing the right thing. We wasn't trying to be part of the world, because Jesus said, "Do not be you're of this. You're in the world, but you don't have to be of the world. You don't have to join in the tactics of the world. You don't have to join in the things that the world does. So separate yourself and do things differently." And so we did things differently to the T, where everything that we were taught, the reason why you don't celebrate your birthday. And I thought I had a real good reason of why I didn't celebrate my birthday, because in the Bible, it talks about John being beheaded for the queen's birthday. Herod's wife wanted his head, and it was a birthday celebration. And because of the fact that she said, "Give me John the Baptist's head" for her birthday, I mean, and that's what the King Herod did. He said, "Okay, well, I guess I told you whatever you wanted, you can have." And that was a birthday celebration. So that's one reason why we don't celebrate birthdays. There was another incident in the Bible where it talked about a birthday was celebrated, and it was death on the birthday. And so they put their own spin on it and basically said, well, you can't celebrate your birthday because um, death always happened at a birthday. And then the other thing is, you don't want to bring glory to yourself. You don't want to bring glory or honor to yourself in no way. You always give glory and honor to God. Always give it. Never to your, never, not even on your birthday. Don't celebrate your birthday because it don't mean nothing. So we didn't celebrate our birthday. And I didn't celebrate my birthday from I don't remember. Again, my mother got baptized when I was like 3 or 4. So I don't even remember if a birthday was ever celebrated. I never celebrated my birthday growing up. I never celebrated holidays growing up. And, there's a time when, when you don't celebrate the holidays and you think, well, I mean, it's the right thing to do because this is what we're a part of. So there's nothing really wrong. We're just doing God's will. We're just doing the work that Jehovah told us to do. And so the other thing is, well, why y'all don't celebrate the other holiday? What about Thanksgiving? It's all pagan. All of it is pagan. Jesus wasn't born on Christmas. He didn't die on Easter. And we just going to celebrate. We don't celebrate none of that because that's what the world is doing. And basically everything was what the world was doing. We just didn't do it just to set ourselves apart. And that's basically what the premise of the whole religion came from the person who started it, which was Charles Taze Russell back in the 1800s. He got together with a group of men and wanted to start his own, business, his own magazine business, because he followed another church, a Seventh-day Adventist church, and he noticed that they were, had these magazines called the Herald. And so he said, well, shoot, if they could do that, I could do something like that too. And basically he wanted to get his own stuff together, teach his own stuff. He wanted to teach from the Bible, but he wanted to teach what he believed. There was a time where he did go to church. And he believed in he celebrated Christmas. He celebrated his birthday. He even, it was a lot of things that he did before he started the organization. And so once he got into the organization, there were some things that he didn't agree with. And that was hell. He didn't believe that there was a heaven or a hell. And so that's where it came, where the hell is just simply your grave. He came to that conclusion by misinterpreting the scripture in Ecclesiastes, where it says that the body knows nothing at all and it is not conscious at all. And of course, the body doesn't. At death, the body does not know anything because it's the body. But we forget about the soul and the spirit. Forget about that part, and that's another video to talk about in another subject matter. But this particular subject matter, we're talking about the beliefs of the witnesses. And so yeah, so that was one of the things that we did. We didn't celebrate our birthdays. We didn't celebrate the holidays. Didn't even celebrate Mother's Day and or Father's Day. And what I realized is that even though we didn't celebrate Mother's or Father's Day, around Father's Day, my mother would always fix some kind of dinner for my father, or even around Thanksgiving, she would do that. And it would be either the week before Father's Day or the week after Father's Day, the week before Thanksgiving or the week after Thanksgiving. And we did this all the time and didn't think nothing of it. We just was like, oh yeah, we just celebrating, having a dinner. We having Sunday dinner. And that's what it basically turned out to be, just a Sunday dinner, but we were still basically celebrating some kind of way. Okay. And so that is an experience, like I said, we didn't really me and my brothers and sisters, we didn't really have a issue with not celebrating, because that's all we knew. And so it was okay for us to not have to celebrate, the holidays. We were just like, okay, well, we don't celebrate Christmas, and we just don't believe in it. We was in our own little circle amongst the people that we knew that had the same like beliefs. And that's what we did. We didn't celebrate. We just, lived our life and continue to go to the hall, what they call the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. And that was just about that. And so I think I talked about last time about when I graduated from 8th grade, that my graduation was in a church. And I don't think none of me or the four older ones, the four of us, we did not graduate from grammar school. We ended up getting our diplomas from the office, I guess, or my mother, evidently she got it, because I really don't remember the situation or how that even worked out. I guess she, got it for us. And, that was the end of that. We didn't think nothing of it. We didn't go to graduation, But now I think back to, wishing that I had, went to my 8th grade graduation. But when you don't know, you don't know. And when you grow up in something like this particular type of religion, then, it's like, hey, this is what we love to do. And I loved it. I really loved it. I was thinking I was doing the right thing for God. By the time I got to high school, I was really all for it. I was ready. I was ready to just delve into being a Jehovah's Witness. I wasn't going to go to college. I'm just going to go to school and, do my work and all of that. And I wasn't going to, waste my time with going to college. And so I end up just basically going to, I ended up going to a community college, but again, that's going ahead of the story. So right now, we're I guess somebody interrupted me as usual. So anyway, at this point in time, I'm just all gung ho about the religion. I'm in high school now. I'm excited. I tell everybody in school, yeah, I'm a Jehovah's Witness and all this, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and you need to go to the hall with me or whatever. I mean, I didn't really like come out and say it, but when I in conversations, people finally, was coming around and they knew that that's what I was. And whenever I did talk to people, I just basically would tell them, that they serve a false, they're false and we're the truth. There's no other God. They serving talking about Jesus, 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 and we said the Bible only talks about Jehovah, and that's the name that we're supposed to use is Jehovah, no other name. Okay, no other name, just Jehovah. And so at this point, I guess by the time I became a sophomore in high school, I studied even harder. I mean, I didn't study, but I, wanted to start my decision making as far as being a witness. And so I started, one of the ladies, the older ladies that, she wasn't really that much older than me, maybe about 4 or 5 years older. And she began to study with me, one-on-one. And so I studied with her, and 6 months in, she was like, so, are you ready what do you think? Are you ready to get baptized? And I was like, you know what? Nothing holding me back. I mean, I really like being a witness, and I really have a heart for God. I really love God. And so I was like, this is the true religion, and I'm just, I want to serve. Now I'm 15 at this point. I'm 15. And and I'm basically saying I want to serve him. Well, actually at sophomore year I was almost 16. And so I'm like, yes, I want to serve him, and I want to get baptized, and this, that, and other. So after the 6 months, by the time I got baptized, I was 17. And I kind of remember the experience. We were going to a Kingdom Hall, Assembly Hall, which was on 78th and Ashland in Chicago. Now, some people that follow me, they may know what I'm talking about, because right now, today, it is now the Crusaders Church. It's actually a building that houses other ministries who have church services there now. And that's another story I'll get into later on about that particular place. And that was where we always had our big assembly meetings, our weekend assemblies, where again we get more indoctrinated, even the more with the different skits and presentations and talks and introductions of new books that we could read, and it's going to really help us to understand. Oh, I guess I forgot about the other one. It was about the blood. We are not supposed to take blood. So I had a cousin, my mother's one of her first cousins, who died at the age of 26. And that seemed like it was real old, because I was still a little girl. I was in grammar school, and they said because they didn't let her take blood, and she ended up dying at 26. And that's all she needed was blood. And it was just, we thought, well, she did the right thing. That's what she had to do because she was serving Jehovah, and that's just what had to happen. And in reality, it was like a death sentence. And I hate to think about it. And I even hate to think about a lot of my family members who have passed on that died in that religion. So anyway, to get back to the story about me getting baptized. So I got baptized at it was called the Assembly Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses years ago on 7859 South Ashland. And we used to go there. It was like a weekend thing, and this was like the special time when people get together. And we had like the lunchtime sessions. We had morning. We had to be there like early in the morning to the late at night in the evening. So we had breaks in between, and it was kind of fun. It was fun, being a young teenager. Me and my sisters, we used to always see boys. We used to like boys, and this, that, and the other. But we didn't do nothing bad. But a lot of the boys did like us. So anyway, it was an exciting time. And so when I got baptized, it's basically like a group of people. They take you in a room and they ask you like two questions. I don't remember the questions, but well, okay, I do remember one of them is that do you promise to serve the spirit directed organization? And then I think when the time came for them to dip you in the water, is in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit directed organization. And then you get dipped and brought right back up. So I was baptized into the name of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit directed organization. Not the Holy Spirit, but the Spirit directed organization. Like that something? So I got baptized into a cult. Yes, I did. I surely did. And so being in this cult, it just caused, you know, you're brainwashed. You're brainwashed. And so after I got baptized, that's when all the stuff started hitting the fan. That's when we started, me and my sisters, we would go here or there. But we were with people that were at the hall. We were with people that were from the hall. We would go to, we go skating. We would go over friends' houses. Now, mind you, I was the only one that was baptized. And so me and my sisters, we always went around to different boys' houses and stuff like that. And not, again, me, myself, I was not doing anything bad, but my sister had one boy that she used to like, and we used to always go over there and, kind of like cover for her as far as just her, just going to see him or whatever, and we laugh and play on the porch and stuff like that. Just real. It was innocent fun, and so I did meet one guy that I really liked, and he was like, now that okay, this was before I got baptized. It's just one incident, and it was like my first kiss, and so he was my first kiss, and I'm not going to say his name because he's gone, passed on since then, but anyway, so that was my first kiss at 15, but then I knew that after that, I wasn't going to do that no more. That was gross. I wasn't going to do that no more. And so that's when I made my decision that I'm ready now to get baptized, because I wasn't dating no boys. I wasn't thinking about no boys and this, that, and the other again. So after I got baptized, then all of a sudden you thinking about boys, so anyway, so at the age okay, so I got baptized at 17. Then at the age of 18, and a lot of the things that I'm talking about is really in my book, Free from the Bondage of the Watchtower. I don't have it with me. I should have brought a copy with me, but it's on Amazon. You can look it up under my name, Lynita Sterling, Lynita, last name Sterling. You can go right on Amazon and type my name in, or you could just type in Free from the Bondage, or just type Free Bondage Watchtower, and the book will come up. I have the Kindle. I believe it's free. You can download it, the ebook, and then the actual book. I believe that right now it might be like $9.99. So, and then I have copies with me as well. So if anybody want to order a book, they can always email me. Okay, so without going into too much detail, there was this guy that I used to like, and I really wanted to see him. And one day I was working. I had just started my new job, and I was working, and one day I got off early, and I said, let me go, I'm going to go over his house, and I'm going to go see him. Now, at this point, I'm 18 years old. And so I go see the young fella. And before I went over there, two of my brother and my baby brother and sister saw me. And so I told them, don't tell mama that you saw me. Don't say nothing. And so they said, we ain't going to say nothing. I think they asked me for some money or $1 or something. I don't even remember what it was, but I may have given them $1 to be quiet. And so I went on to the boy's house. And at this point, I almost entered into encounter with him, if you get my drift. And my sister right up under me, she ended up calling me. We didn't have cell phones back then. We just had just call people on their phone. So she knew his phone number because either I gave it to him, or she used to like his baby brother. And so she called, my hair just sticking up. She called me from his phone, and basically was like, my mother knew that I wasn't at home, and I went somewhere else. And I was like, what? And so I ended up going back home, and what was supposed to happen didn't happen, thank the Lord, but it almost did, but thank God it didn't. And so anyway, so I went back home, and because she was upset, she was ready to fight me and this, that, and the other, but I was like, I didn't go in the house. I just stayed outside the house or whatever on the porch, where we lived at. And so anyway, make a long story short, that happened, and so that was over with. And so that was at the age of 18. And so then there was another young guy that I met, and the same thing could have happened with him. And it was like 2 months after that situation. I know people are like, oh, you're herish, but I didn't look at it like that, because I was a young girl, 17 years old, and it was just it is what it is. Again, I wasn't saved. I was just living life. And so again, that same thing, encounter could have happened, but it didn't. And again, I thank God that it didn't. I was 17. And so again, I go into more detail in my book, so you can order the book. And so at the age of 19, so this is okay, say 18 is over with. I done stopped it. I ain't doing nothing else. I wasn't trying to talk to no more boys because both of them boys hurt me and da 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 da. And I don't need no boy. I don't need no boy. So I went on about my business and said, okay, I'm just gonna do right. And so we started going skating with some of the friends. We call them the friends of the hall, the young people. Some of their parents would come, and we had a good time. And some of us just went in groups. Like with older kids, and then us, like we 17 and 18, we're 18 and 19, and we had some people that was like 21, 22. So we all went together as a group. And so we would do that, and we would go to different gatherings and stuff like that. But at certain of these gatherings, somebody would buy some wine. There would be wine in the mix somewhere. And so we had wine, and somebody that was in the group, one of the younger boys, he ran and told his mother, and the mother told my mother, and we all had to go into the committee meeting, meet with the brothers to say what happened and all this kind of stuff. And so it was like a private thing. Nobody got in trouble. They just said, just don't do it again. Da, 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 da. And I only had like that was when they Bottles and James, I think it was, or whatever was the popular wine at the time. And at this point, I'm 19 again. I'm 19. And so I had a sip of it or whatever. And so that was it. That was it. It was over with. But at the same time, some of the people that I hung around, they always had boyfriends. They was kissing. They was doing this. They was doing that. I mean, it was wild. They was wild. And I was like, why is they doing all of this stuff? I wasn't because I took seriously the relationship that I had. As far as, once I did get serious, I took it serious. And they would even try to set me up with guys and stuff. And I'm like, no, nobody like that. So anyway, after that, I'm just kind of going over my teenage years. So after that, let's see, at 19, yeah. So I'm 19, and my two sisters under me, they're seniors in high school. And so one of them comes up pregnant. And so it's like, oh my goodness, in her senior year of high school, she became pregnant. And so at this point, it was like, why? How did she get pregnant? What is going on? Why did she get pregnant? She's not supposed to be doing nothing. Da, da, da. Nobody, it's my mother. Nobody told her what was going on. And in reality, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have anything to do with what she was doing. I didn't know she was cutting school to go see a boy, And so she ended up getting pregnant, and because of that, they disassociated her at the time. Even if you weren't baptized, but you were associated with the organization, you were disassociated, which means that no one could talk to you. You had to go to the hall, sit in the back, and just sit there until you decide that you're ready to repent. Or maybe after you had a baby, you would be all right. You can come back. Okay, so during all this time, I had confided in my auntie about the situation that happened to me when I was 18. And so she told one of her sisters, we're all in the same age group. She told one of her sisters, and then that sister told my grandmother. And so my grandmother called my mother and told her, your daughter did such and such on, last year. That's the way I'm looking at it, because it was a year ago. And so she came in and basically was like, did you do such and such? And I said, no, I didn't do nothing. Well, let's call Ozzy right now. Let's find out. Then I didn't, instead of me doing all that, I just said, yeah, I did it. Da, 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 and she said, well, you know what? You're going to have to go and tell on yourself. This is my mother told me I had to go tell the brothers on myself, the elders of the congregation. I had to go tell on myself. And so I went. I was sad about it, and this, that, and the other. And I went on, and I did tell on myself, being a good JW that I thought I was being, and I went and told on myself. And in these meetings, it's the most degrading place that you could ever be, because these so-called men that are judges or elders or whatever you want to call it were very graphic. I guess they thought that we were in a real court of law, and so they felt like they had to know every detail about what happened, every detail. And me, thinking it was the right thing for them to do that, I answered all the questions. And I was like, this is what happened. This is what happened. Yes. And I mean, I was telling the details, and I probably shouldn't have. Now that I think about it, why did I have to tell them all of that? If they was going to disfellowship me after I confessed to everything, then I would have never said a thing. But because of the fact that this is why they disfellowship me. Now, I didn't ask to be disfellowship. I wanted to stay. The reason why I was first, let's talk about disfellowship. I said disassociation is somebody who didn't get baptized. Because of the fact that I was a baptized witness, I was disfellowshipped. And disfellowship means that I have no longer fellowship with the people in the organization. They no longer can fellowship with me. I'm not supposed to have fellowship with my mother. I'm not supposed to have fellowship with my grandmother. Anybody that's in my family that is a witness, I don't have fellowship with. They could speak to me, da da da. We can be in the same room. Even though I lived at home with my mother, I was able to, we still was able to talk and this, that, and the other. But it was not, I couldn't talk about spiritual things or talk about the Bible and stuff like that. But we could just talk about everyday thing. I was still able to go to the store with her and this, that, and the other, like a mother and daughter do. And so that happened. And so when we went to so I got disfellowship. So the reasoning behind disfellowship in me was because after I tried this the first time, I went back and did it a second time, 2 months later. So because I went back the second time, I was not repentant. I was not sorry for what I did when I did it the first time. But yet it's a whole year later that both of the incidents happened. So if I wasn't repenting, then that means I should have been doing some stuff all that time for that whole year that they holding me accountable for something that happened a whole year ago. And so, so with that being said, I was disfellowship. Now, if it was God's will, I don't believe it was God. I don't believe that God caused it to happen. I believe that it's his will that I be saved. I believe that it's his will that we all be saved. So however I got out of the religion, it just happened. It just happened that this incident had to happen, and that's what I believe. I believe that it just had to happen. And so, God will use you in certain aspects of your life and to get you to certain places. But I believe that when you're in a cult and you don't know how to get out, sometimes things happen to get you out of it and you don't even realize it. And so, again, because I know that I had a deep desire to serve God, I wasn't, thinking that, that I would ever not be a Jehovah's Witness. And so even after being disfellowship at the age of 19, at this point, my family, they're about to move to South Bend, Indiana. We're living in Chicago. And I had just started working a new job, working for the government. And so at 19 years old, and so I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I don't want to move to no Indiana. And after I got disfellowship, so the only reason why I actually went to the hall was because, I had to go, and because I, still lived under my mother's roof. And so I went to the hall, those few times that they were still here before they moved. And once they moved, I'm like, what's the purpose of me going? Nobody's speaking to me. Why do I need to go? And so at this point in my life, I just started living the life the way I wanted to. I felt like, because we were taught that once you leave the organization, that God does not hear your prayers and that the devil is your God. The devil is your God, and you serve him and him alone. And so no matter what you do in your life, when Armageddon takes place, you're going to be destroyed. Now, there's nothing that's going to, you just got to live your life the way you're going to live it, because there's nothing going to happen. Nothing is you're not going to be safe. You're just going to be in Armageddon. You're going to die. So I lived my life doing what I wanted to do, partying it up, this, that, and the other. But the thing is, once they moved to South Bend, Indiana, I stayed in Chicago, and I ended up moving with a cousin. Stayed with her for a couple of months, and I ended up moving with a friend of mine. Stayed with her a couple of months, and then eventually I got my own place. Still all at the age of 19. I got my own place, my first place at 19, and I just, I moved around a lot. I mean, I didn't move around like from having my own place, but I went places, like different, how, I kind of adopted a family that took me in as if I was their daughter or niece or cousin or sister. And so I spent a lot of time with this newfound family that I call them, and celebrated holidays with them. I just did the whole nine. I celebrated Halloween, I celebrated Christmas, and didn't care what meaning was behind it. I celebrated everything, because I just didn't have the opportunity. I never celebrated it. And so I guess since I was going to die at Armageddon, I might as well celebrate it now, right? And so that's what I did. And so that's what I did in my those years, from being in high school to now being in at the age of 19. I also went to Harold Washington College. At the time, it was called Loop College. I went there for like 9 months because the job that I started working, it was a stay in school job. So once I graduated from high school, I had to stay in school. So that's why I ended up going to the college for a few classes. And I did enjoy the experience of being in the, even if it was a junior college, it still was a great experience to be able to go to a college. So I'm gonna stop right here, and I'll be back hopefully before the week is out with some more good information for you. It's just basically, again, I'm talking about how it was to grow up in the false religion. And there were so many experiences that I had, even with some of the other ladies of the church, the young girls of the church. There was a lot of jealousy in the hall, not the church, in the hall. There was a lot of jealousy, a lot of he say, she say, just human stuff, you know. And there were even a lot of even one of the people that was in the room with me when I got disfellowship. I found out years later that he was this one of the elders that was in the room with me was disfellowship. And that was just so funny. But the thing is, nobody's perfect. And when people realize that only God is perfect, then they'll know that you can't do nothing to save yourself. You can't do nothing. You can't do no works to save yourself. No amount of works can save you. Okay, only Jesus. So we'll get more into that later on. I just wanted to kind of go a little bit over some more, give you some more information about me being about growing up in the organization of false religion. And so that's going to be the end of this. And I hope you guys have a great evening. And I will be talking with you. Have a blessed day.